And what they were doing is they were putting their refuge in falsehood. Okay. So Israel has always had a problem of doing this. Okay. It's found in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 28, where it says, because you said we made a covenant with death, we made a contract with Sheol. When the raging flood passes through, it won't touch us. For we have made lies our refuge and hid ourselves in falsehoods. Let me explain this to you. The children of Israel and the leaders, more specifically in Judah, thought that they had a contract. Okay. They made a covenant with death. How do you make a covenant with death? They had to do this through another God. Okay. They made an agreement, okay, with Sheol, with the grave. Okay. And they said, we're never going to see you. We're never going here. And we're never going to die. And the God that we serve told us that you're never going to die. You're never going to go to the grave. I'm going to raise you from the dead. That's what I'm telling you. Because when judgment comes, which is this raging flood passes through, it said it won't touch us. When they were talking about an invasion that was going to happen to them. And they thought because they made a covenant with death and they told the grave that we're not going to see you, okay, that they were not going to die. And the Most High told them, he said, look, he told us that they have made lies their refuge and they hid themselves in falsehoods. And that's the problem, okay? So when you look at what he's talking about here, you can see the same sentiment when you're looking at the New Testament, okay? Because they're making a covenant with death, saying we're never going to die, and saying that we're never going to see the grave. And that's not true. That's a falsehood. There's a falsehood in the New Testament, okay? Put the colors here so you can really understand what's going on. This is the New Test. The New Testament is the new test. That's your test. That's the test that Yah is using to find out whether or not you're going to obey his command or you're going to obey their commands. Their commands tell you something totally different than what Yah says. But that's your test. And whether or not you pass, it's up to you. It's falsehood. Okay. Also, too, I found, just to be fair, I found that there's falsehood in the Shabbat teaching. There's falsehood. What are you talking about, Akika? You're telling me there's falsehood in the Shabbat teaching? Yeah. There's a falsehood that I'm going to continue to teach about. Here it is. Yahweh said to Moshe, I have heard the grumblings of the people of Israel. Say to them, at dusk, you will be eating meat, and in the morning you will have your fill of bread. Then you will realize that I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Well, where is the falsehood? This is out of the Bible. This is out of the Torah. Clearly, this can't be a falsehood. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm going to tell you again. If you and I don't understand the language, and you don't understand the grammar, and you don't know what's being said and how it's being said, you're going to get lost. And you're going to be led astray, okay? So it says at dusk, okay? Some people call that twilight, okay? I'm going to show you the lie. I'm going to show you the falsehood, okay? So at twilight, or what you would say evening, okay? So for us, we would say, say to them tonight, or when the sun goes down, you're going to be eating meat. At dusk, at twilight, in the evening, you're going to be eating meat. Didn't say that. It doesn't say that. Okay. Listen what it says. It says here, it says, I heard the complaints of the sons of Israel. Okay. Speak to them, saying, Bain ha'arbaim, not at twilight. This is not at. This word Bain right here, bet, yod, noon, is not at. Doesn't mean at. That is a lie. Okay. Ha'arbaim. It says at twilight, This is two of them. Remember, I told you ha-arbaim is a dual plural. It's not one, it's two. That's why he has the eem on the end right there, ha-arbaim. He says that they will eat flesh, and in the morning, to Shavia, they will be satisfied with bread, and they will know, for I am Yahweh, Ani Yahweh, their Elohim, their Elohim. Okay, so let's go find out if what Akika is telling you is true, and let's see the significance of it. They said Bain, okay, ha-arbaim. That is not at. So the focus for us is going to be on that word Bain to see if it's true, because it makes you think something. Here it is. The word Bain, okay, in the Strong's Concordance, Bain is an interval. It means a space between. It does not mean at. Does not mean that, okay? And what it says is, and it's how you say it, phonetically spelling, definition is an interval, and it's a space between, okay? So if it's an interval and it's a space between, then what the Most High was saying is not at evening you're going to be eating meat. He's saying between evenings you're going to be eating meat, okay? So here it is, again, our chart to tell you again, Bain is an interval between, okay? This twilight space right here is the first evening, that's the Erev. The second evening is right here, that's the Erev, okay? So that's the second one, all right? Or what they would call the first one, that's the second one. So the interval, he's saying between this time and this time, you're going to be eating meat. Then in the morning, right? That's when you're going to get the manna, okay? So the morning, you're going to get the manna, okay? So where is the falsehood? Is it just in the grammar where it says they use the word at instead of between? Well, again, those who subscribe to the Shabbat, remember I told you this is a Shabbat falsehood, they tell you that the Shabbat starts when? When is the Jewish Shabbat and the Shabbat for the Hebraians and a majority of people? When does the Shabbat start?
Friday evening.
They said that it's going to start in the evening. And it's going to start when the sun goes down right here. Then they say this right here is the Shabbat. And the Shabbat is going to go all the way through that twilight, and it's going to come all the way back again. And that's where you give your day. That's what they're saying. They're saying the day is night and night is day. Okay. Listen what the Most High is saying. If the Most High said that at this evening, you're going to be eating bread, I want you to think about this. He said, in this evening, that's right here. Between, not at, between. That's point and this point. Between that point, you're going to be eating meat. When they got that, when they received the quails, when did they receive the quails?
That's the evening and night.
They received the quails at evening. When did they prepare the quails?
It was the same time.
Same time. Thank you, Kent. They did it. So if they got he said this evening, the quails fell down at the evening. So the quails are in this point right here when the sun goes down, all the way between, he says, between those two times. So the quails are in this time period. That's when they're cooking. That's when they're preparing and everything. So if the Shabbat starts right here at evening, did they violate the Shabbat? If the Shabbat is on the evening?
I mean, for them, yeah.
They violated the Shabbat, everybody. If the Shabbat starts in the evening and they receive the quails in the evening, that's my point. If they
Okay.
receive the quails in the evening, then how is it that this is the Shabbat? This is the starting of the Shabbat right here. Why did they say the Shabbat starts in the evening? When the Most High gave them quails, they had to clean the quails, they had to cook the quails, they had to bleed the quails, they had to defeather the quails, they had to do all that, and then they had to eat the quails and everything from this time all the way to this time, to the morning. So is this really the Shabbat?
Nope.
No. You see?
That's a day of atonement. That's
Exactly.
even in the evening.
All right. So this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. The Shabbat, it starts in the morning. The Shabbat starts in the morning. When was the manna given?
Sunrise in the morning.
Sunrise. When was the manna
Before it
given?
got
In the
hot.
morning. How long did you have to go get the manna?
A couple hours.
You had a couple of
before it
hours
got real
because it would
hot.
start to melt. You understand? At a certain point when the sun came out at a certain time, right? Then he says, I want you to collect the manna for how many days?
For 6 days.
So
And on
every
6th
time the
day,
Most
double
High would bring the
portion.
manna out, he would bring it out in the morning. They would gather it before this time, before before it melted. So when he gave the quails, he didn't give the quails in the morning. He gave the quails at evening. And he didn't say at evening. He said between evenings. That's when you're going to eat it, between those two times. So if their Shabbat is correct, then why are they cooking quails, defeathering quails, bleeding quails, washing them, preparing them, cooking them, and eating them during this time, if this is the Shabbat? Because the Most High told us you got 6 days. And on the 6th day, I need you to take a double portion. And on the 6th day, you need to prepare all of your food. You understand? So the preparation period, listen, so it can make sense to all of us. The preparation period for the children of Israel begins the 6th day here. You got all this time over here, all this time over here, all this time over here until you get back to the morning. Don't stress and get anxiety because you think I got to finish before the evening, because that's when the Shabbat starts. No, it does not. The Shabbat starts in the morning. Okay. The evidence and the proof of that is not that you're going to receive the quails at evening. You're going to receive it between the evenings. And that's where I want you to cook, and I want you to eat, and I want you to bleed. I want you to do all that kind of stuff. The quails, not yourselves. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So again, that's another false teaching. There's falsehoods in the teaching about the Shabbat. And you need to be aware of that. Why? Because if you change Yah's word, that means that you're at war with Yah. Okay. You can't do